Ooh, this license for you beat me hitting, boys. Welcome back off the bench. That's how people talk, Danny, huh? When you're out in the club, for sure, no doubt. Let's talk to LSU football general manager, our guy, AT Austin Thomas. Austin, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for joining us.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing this morning?
Hey, Austin, so, every now and then I go back and I listen to the show and I wonder, that you just like watch a film, right? You see things that you missed out on. And I really feel like I missed an opportunity last week when we were just talking and you're talking about the scrimmage and how it was your first time back in Tiger Stadium since you left and the whole crazy journey and everything. And for me not to follow up there was just a huge misstep. So I want you now to expound on that a little bit, because you did have a pretty wild ride leaving LSU and then eventually finding your road back here. What was it like being back in that stadium where you kind of cut your teeth? I mean, so much, everybody's there. What was that experience like, returning to that stadium and watching football actually be played?
Absolutely. It was really surreal because, you go and you spend a lot of time here in your career and you help build this program, and you just have such an affinity for this place and the people. And, I always did the math and calculated that I had played over 70 games in Tiger Stadium, right? And then, you take a little sabbatical to some other places and you get to see some other venues and be part of them. But, walking back into Tiger Stadium last weekend was a great moment for me personally, just because of all the memories I had there. You walk in there and you think about all the things that have been accomplished there and all the great memories and moments that you've had in there. And then you also think about the one experience that I had as a visitor coming into Tiger Stadium in 2019, and that wasn't pleasant as well. And so, it's easy when you're in the middle of it on this side, as we are, to take it for granted at times just how special that place is. But it really did bring it to life for me when I did come as a visitor in 2019 with Texas A&M, just to see how special the venue is. And when, it's Saturday night in Death Valley and those fans are in there, and hopefully we can have that this fall. But that team is rolling and you've got the band going and you've got the atmosphere, and it's unmatched, it's unparalleled anywhere in sports, and it's really really exciting to be back.
Yeah, I would say that you got to experience some of the wildest games in history when you're talking about some of the LSU A&M battles the last couple of years, and now what a fascinating perspective to be able to see it from the other side like that. Y'all made a pretty fascinating hire the other day. We were talking about the director of player development. We had her on the show on Friday, talking about someone that we know and love, Tam Davis. I was wondering, because you're a vision guy, right? Like, that's what I love talking to you about, is the organization and the vision for it. What was the idea behind hiring Tam in this role, and how did it come about?
It really, when we had all the staff changes a couple weeks ago, I really sat with Coach O, and he kind of said, hey, just take it and figure it out, and let's see where we want to go. And so to me, it wasn't about how fast we could make a hire. It was about, doing our due diligence and getting the best people. And sometimes the best people you have are in your building, and your people are your greatest asset. And so kind of reassessing where we are and where we were and the pieces we had lost, and some of those pieces are not easily replaced. And then taking that and saying, all right, how can we make LSU as strong as we possibly can and as competitive as we possibly can? It became very obvious to me that Tam, who has been doing, a very similar role on the side for years and years, that this was the right move for us, and an easy move to make, because she is so ingrained into the culture of this place and our team, and having the pulse of those guys, and just understanding who we are and what we want and what we represent. And those guys, they trust her 100%. And I think, trust is such a strong attribute in a role like that. And so putting her in position to grow her career, it was long overdue, but to have that happen was an easy, seamless transition for Coach and I, and it's gone wonderfully so far.
Austin, kind of staying with the staff, anytime you bring in this many new coaches, people are going to ask the question, what's the chemistry like? Have they been able to gel well together? And not just the defensive coaches with the other defensive coaches, but the entire staff. And that actually seems like something that's worked extremely well. I know they're competitive, and I know they like to get after each other, and they like to, have those one-on-one battles and kind of go back and forth. But it really seems like the chemistry of this young staff has worked well so far.
I agree, Jacob. These guys are working really, really hard, and I think there's a couple things that kind of speak to that, and it's a trust and a transparency as a staff that nobody's trying to really, you know how it is. Like sometimes when you script a practice, and at times it is very, very competitive, but nobody's trying to trick anybody at practice. Nobody's trying to win the drill per se. We're all trying to get better as a group, right? And so you have these guys, and there's a trust level there, and there's a transparency there, and then these guys are in here even during spring ball working long hours. And so I think to have a shared commitment as a staff and overcoming the adversity that we've had to overcome as a staff, I think those are the things that kind of bring you closer as a group. And so when you have the personalities that we have, but you have those variables as well that are all kind of coming together, I think it's been wonderful for us. And I think this staff, they're young, they're energetic, as you mentioned, they're very, very competitive, but it's a healthy competition, and they're moving us forward for sure.
Talking to LSU football general manager Austin Thomas, and Austin, you always talk about roster building, and we've discussed in the past how complex it's become with things like the transfer portal and even grad transfers and JUCO and everything. I mean, look at Bug Strong. How much of the day-to-day practice results or scrimmage results, how much does that or does not factor into some of these roster-building decisions that y'all make?
I think the scrimmages and games when we get into the fall, those big moments like that, they're always a barometer for where you are. But, it's not the end-all. I think at the end of the day, you want your guys to perform when the lights come on. And there are some guys that are young and some guys that are veterans that have experienced before, and they have a little bit greater comfort level. I think in our first scrimmage to the second scrimmage, some of the young guys, we went in there in that first scrimmage and they had 3 or 4 good days in spring ball, and then they walk into Tiger Stadium and everything, they get so hyped up, they get, everything kind of goes out the window, and they forget about their technique. They forget about their alignment, their assignment, the discipline that comes with every snap of football. And, so at the end of the day, guys that perform are gonna play, but it's not the end all. I think it's very, very important to show consistency and leadership. And then, part of being a leader in that role is how many of your teammates can you bring with you to get you to that standard that we need to be playing at in order to win on Saturdays in the fall.
All right, I want to know kind of what positions are kind of getting after it in spring practice as far as competition. Do we have any positions that are standing out? You can tell guys are fighting and jockeying for those starting spots?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I think the most obvious one that everybody wants to talk about is quarterback. I think we've got a very, very healthy room. I think it's as deep a quarterback room as we've had in my time at LSU. And so all of those guys are pushing each other to be better every single day, and that's been a really, really healthy competition. I think you talk about, the wide receivers, those guys. We got 6'8" guys that are making plays, so they're all pushing each other. I think linebackers another key position that guys are working. We even have some of our guys that aren't with us right now, but when they come back, it's going to be even more of a competition. So I think all over the field, you're seeing guys compete, interior defensive line. I think you're seeing guys kind of step up and grow and learn and push each other. And so it's been really, really competitive all over the field, Jacob. And it's fun to watch, man, because these guys, they're young, but they're hungry. They're taking coaching well. And we're really, really excited about where it's going.
Interior defensive line would be pretty fascinating. There's a ton of
talent. A lot of talent,
old and young at that group. What about Saturday, Austin? Who's the big standout of the scrimmage? I mean, I think last week they said offense won Thursday, defense won the scrimmage. What happened this Saturday?
Yeah, this past Saturday was really good. I mean, I don't want to be too vanilla here, guys, but it was really, really good scrimmage by both groups. And we challenged our guys to compete. We challenged them to be consistent. We challenged them to give us, 15 great days, and this was day 6. And, it's so important to not waste a day. And these scrimmage days are just vital to what we're doing. And so I think there were times during the scrimmage that the offense had great moments. And, you saw most of the quarterbacks make plays all the way, Miles, Max, TJ, and Garrett all made some great plays. And then there were some periods of the scrimmage where the defense was dominant. I think Bug Strong stood out again. Some of the young defensive linemen, Jay Ward in the secondary was phenomenal. And so I think there's a good group of guys, a good nucleus of guys that are stepping up. But again, it's not about one or two guys. It's about how many guys you can affect, right? How many guys you can change as a leader and bring with you to perform at the LSU standard of performance.
I mean, Buck Strong's someone that no matter who you talk to, his name is coming out of everyone's mouth. That he has been, from just listening to everyone talk and being out there only a couple of days, he's someone that is kind of made a statement already in spring practice. And I value spring practice, Austin, as I know you do, because that's where I won my starting running back position my junior and my senior year. Like, it was in the spring, because when you come out there in the spring and you make that impression on the coaches, that can last up until training camp.
Absolutely. Bug he's a guy that has worked his way into the rotation. He's such a great kid. He's always got a smile, but he's very, very competitive and works extremely hard to understand. And that's where I credit our coaching staff so much, not just at that position, but all over the place, is not just teaching our players, but having them understand the why, because I think y'all both played, and just kind of how much that helps, having an understanding not just of what you're doing, but why you're doing it. And so I think for Bug to kind of understand that fit, and some other guys on both offense and defense to understand why we're doing what we're doing and where they need to be, and what that means is, as far as schematic fit within the defense, has been awesome. And those guys, as teachers and staff, have been great at relaying that to our players.
There you go. Austin Thomas, LSU football general manager, joins us every Monday at 7:30. AT, thank you so much, man. And y'all kick ass on what I'm sure is another busy week.
Yes, sir. Busy week. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate all y'all do for us.
Yes, sir. Closing out hour number 1. When we get back, got a couple little nuggets in there that I want to break down. So keep it locked right here on OTB.